Hi, my artists. It's Mrs. Basil. Today, before we start our lesson, let's start by saying the Art Studio mantra. So, for those of you who have not done the mantra with me before, I will say a line and then I pause and you say it to yourself. And you can follow along right here, and you can also follow along with my hand movements. So, the first thing we do is we take a deep breath. Close your eyes while you do it. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Hand over heart. My mantra. I am positive. I am creative. I am mindful. I am amazing. I am an artist. I just did a hand on the hip. So this week we're going to make sculpture. So we have to have our inspiration. Where did I come up with this idea? Why are we doing it? Well, a couple different reasons. First, when we're talking about sculpture, we're talking about form. And when I talk about form, I can talk about shapes. And we've talked a lot about shapes. But a square now becomes a cube. It has dimension. I can walk around it. It may look slightly different from different angles. When I talk about a circle, I'm calling it a sphere. A triangle now becomes a cone. And so on, cylinder or pyramid. So those flat shaped names are now a form. It's three-dimensional, meaning I can walk all around it and look at it from different angles. Here's some more examples of sculpture and form. Here's a pretty cool sculpture, really smooth. We see the sphere, and when we walk around it, it will look different from different angles because it's taking up actual space. This is not, well, this is flat, but if I was to see this sculpture in real life, I could touch it, I can walk around it, and it will look different depending on where I'm standing. So, our artist inspiration this week, his name is Alberto Giacometti. And here's one of his pieces. Looks familiar, but it also looks a little strange. You're probably wondering, what am I looking at? So let's first talk about Giacometti. And this particular piece is from 1950. So talking about 70 years ago, this artist was active. And Alberto Giacometti is a Swiss sculptor. He started his love of art when he was just a boy. And he did come from a very artistic family. His father and his brothers are artists. And one of his brothers is actually an architect. An architect is a job within the art field. So just because you love art does not mean that your job will be an artist. There is many jobs within the field of art. And Giacometti, he would use plaster, okay? So a lot of his sculptures are multimedia, meaning that it was more than one kind of material to make it. So he started out using plaster, and then he could carve it a little bit easier. So it's really hard. It's a different way to work with, say, a metal. You have to heat it up. But with plaster, it gets hard, it gets wet, then you put it together, and then you can carve into it. Okay. He would use for his inspiration was shadows. So for instance, if you're standing outside on a really sunny day and you can see your shadow in front of you, or maybe on the side of you, and you look really, really tall, check out these guys. They're really tall. So now we know why the proportions of these people are very tall, because he liked looking at shadows. But he couldn't do it by looking at his own shadow. He had to ask family and friends to stand, and so he can, just like sculpture, walk around and look at the shadows from different views. So that now you know why his sculpture looks the way it does. Well, today what you need is only two things: a pair of scissors and a piece of foil. About that big, so you don't need that much. You ask your parents before you take it, because I know sometimes it's hard to rip and then you gotta roll it back up again. So go ahead, I'm gonna stop the video right now, and you press pause as well, and go get a pair of scissors and a piece of foil. Roll it out. Here's mine. Hi guys, welcome back. So I have my two supplies, my aluminum foil, doesn't matter what brand, and my scissors. I'm gonna go pull a piece out. And again, like I mentioned, if you have trouble pulling it out, go ahead and ask someone at home. You are going to make 3 cuts. The first one will be at the very bottom. Just go a couple inches up. If you go too far, that's okay. If you go too short, that's okay too. And if it rips a little bit, that's okay. We're gonna fix it. Turn it around. I can see where my one cut is. So I want to put a cut on this side and a cut on this side. So I'm making 2 cuts. And again, just a couple inches up. And if your foil accidentally rips like that, don't worry about it. We're going to fix it. Go ahead and turn it back around where you have the one cut. And what we are going to do is we are going to make a little figure. And not only are we creating a sculpture using form, taking up space, but we are also talking about the word movement. And here's a great example. Right here, when people move, or in our case, our sculpture moves, we will see movement. Okay, getting back to our project. Go ahead and take the one side and you're just going to kind of squish it. You're making a leg. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't worry if it rips. Just get it the best you can. We can fix it later. Next side, kind of squish it. Kind of looks like a Roblox or a Minecraft guy right now with the big block head. Going up here, here's an arm. And another arm. And then for the head, you're going to kind of squish it down and shape it. Okay, unless you want your guy to look like this, or girl, you're going to go ahead and fix the torso. That is the middle of the body. Just playing with the foil, it really squishes down nice. It's pliable, you can move it, shape it. And if you feel as though the proportions are off and you like to trim it, you can. But don't forget, we just talked about Giacometti, and he had exaggerated proportions because his inspiration was shadows. So I think I'm going to keep my longer arms. Maybe I'll just bend it, and then maybe bend it up here like this is his hand. Maybe he's saying stop. Maybe I can put a knee up and bend it. You can make a bunch of these. You can make a whole crew. You can make a whole family. And here is an extra bonus. Look around your house, find some things, and here's just my pile of random things. I have cotton, I have fabric, beads, yarn. Maybe if you have little pieces of yarn at home, you can ask your parents what they have. You can go ahead and glue some yarn on. Just be patient. Anything you use Elmer's glue with will take a whole day to dry. So really give it at least overnight to dry. So you can also try to glue up a little piece of paper and create a face, because I know it's hard to draw right on crumbly foil. So check out what you come up with. You can make a whole army of people, decorate them, or you don't have to at all. Maybe you can even paint the foil. Say you wanted a different color. That could be an option. Just make sure you ask your parents, because you will need to use tempera paint or acrylic paint. Watercolor really won't work on this, so it would have to be a different kind of paint. So I hope you have fun with your form project, and we can't wait to see the results. Bye!